Tom waited in the car for his son to come out of the house. It was his weekend with the boy, and like most 5-year-olds, it took forever for the kid to get ready. In the past, Tom would have helped him get dressed and find his socks, which were scattered chaotically around the bedroom, plus his backpack, which would have been hidden behind a chair or in the closet. But the house belonged to his ex-wife's new husband, so Tom waited outside. Tom's ex, Randy, was probably chasing after Liam, trying to get ready to leave at the same time. The thought made Tom smile. She was always stressed under pressure, and when she was stressed, she lost her temper. "Be on time, please," Randy commanded. "This dinner is important to Hank. He has clients traveling from Asia. This meeting is crucial to his business." Tom remained silent during the phone lecture. He didn't, for example, say anything about the fact that he was always on time, or that it was Randy, Hank, and Liam who were always late. He also didn't say anything about not giving a shit whether dinner was important to Hank or not. After all, Hank had talked Randy into getting into bed with him when Randy was married to Tom. Tom didn't say that Hank wanted Randy to be his sweetie just because her breasts looked good in a deep-cut dress when he had dinner with clients. Most importantly, Tom didn't say anything to Randy about the fact that if anyone asked Tom what he wanted, the answer would only be a couple minutes to give Hank a good smack across his face. Tom even looked online and found a pair of waterproof work gloves that would keep the bloody giblets from escaping his hands as he tightened his gut around the bastard's throat. He didn't say any of that, however, and just kept quiet, listening to the squeak on the other end of the wire. He had something better in his pocket waiting to be used. Neither Tom nor Randy clashed over money. Neither of them lived in poverty, but Randy dreamed of being rich. Tom, on the other hand, was content with a decent salary and a decent house. They met at a work event, dated for a while, and got married. When they met, Randy was in one of her stages of dieting. She had bad eating habits, and when she was stressed, she ate to excess. Then, after gaining extra pounds, she would go on a diet, using every miracle drug she could find, and exercising like a maniac, sacrificing sleep to do so. She would be thin for a while, but then bloated again. Her family tended to be predisposed to obesity, which was an added problem because they all suffered from severe hypertension. Randy went through the weight loss gain cycle 3 times while she and Tom were together. Hank had seduced her when she was in one of her skinny phases, and she seemed to have managed not to get fat for the past year and a half. Tom realized that her weight loss had to be his key to solving this case. However, he had let it slip past his ears. He only found out about it when Randy told him she was getting a divorce. Tom did everything he could to stall the divorce. He wasn't trying to save the marriage. He was trying to be an asshole. It was the only weapon he had. However, he did have a good lawyer, a guy who was a friend of a friend. He fought everything. He even demanded counseling. This offended Tom. He didn't want to talk to her. But the lawyer calmed him down, explaining that Randy wanted to talk to him even less than he wanted to talk to her, and that they could always withdraw the request. After all, Randy wanted to marry Hank, so she had an incentive to make things happen quickly. Tom's attorney filed motions challenging everything, scheduled a hearing, then rescheduled it, and then filed other motions. When it came time to contest the counseling motion, Tom's attorney withdrew the motion in court as promised, after Randy and Hank had spent time and money preparing. Finally, after months of arguing over everything, Randy wrote Tom a check and signed over all the joint property to him. She even paid Tom's lawyer. Since she didn't have any money of her own, it was obviously coming from Hank. Tom called it a victory. The divorce was finalized just a month ago. Shortly afterward, Randy and Hank were married. Tom had kept Liam with him while the happy couple went on their honeymoon. Now it was time. The final installment of payback, and this one didn't involve anyone's guts. The door opened and Liam ran down the steps and ran down the driveway. He didn't understand why he had to live in 2 houses, but he'd adjusted. Tom buckled him into his car seat with his seatbelt and gave him a tablet with a movie on it. Tom walked up to the house and knocked on the door. After a moment, Randy opened it, looking unhappy. "Well?" She was trying to put on her earrings, make sure her hair was perfect, send a text message to her new husband, and walk out the door in her little black dress and stiletto shoes all at the same time. "I have to share something with you," Tom announced with a smile. Randy always complained that his stories were long and boring. She was about to say something similar now, but Tom held up his hand. It was about the lottery. That stopped her. In spite of herself, she was interested. Randy's dream was to win the lottery, especially the giant ball. The prize amount had recently surpassed $2 billion, making it one of the largest in history, and the winning ticket had been sold in their neighborhood. The story was all over the news, but no one claimed the prize. An intrepid reporter even examined surveillance video from the store where the ticket was sold, but there was no way to tell who bought it. Now, unfortunately, the time to claim the prize has passed, so the money just went back into the prize pool. Some guy won $2 billion a few weeks later. Randy waited for Tom to tell the story, but instead of talking, he showed the ticket. Randy squinted to look at him. She was too vain to admit she needed glasses. "This is the winning ticket," Tom said, "with the $2 billion winnings they were talking about when we broke up." He held out the ticket to her. Surprise reflected on Randy's face. Yes, it was. It has now expired. Randy looked shocked and frantically drummed her fingers on her phone, obviously looking for the number on the lottery website. She shifted her gaze from the phone to the ticket and back again, and finally looked up at Tom. The expression on her face changed from shock to anger, fear, and then misery before the cycle began again. Tom took the ticket back. The blood vessels on her temples pulsed visibly. "See, I bought it just before you hit me with the divorce papers, which was actually the day before they announced the winner. It would have been part of the divorce proceedings. Sure, my share would have been a few $100 million after they deducted the lump sum payment and then took out the taxes, but, and this is the important part, so would have been your share. And there was no fucking way I was going to let that happen." "That's right. I turned down the big money and I did it out of spite so you wouldn't get anything. That's how much I hate you. Now you and Hank have a nice evening." Randy didn't say a word, but her jaw moved up and down, her neck muscles tensed, and she gripped the door jamb. Tom turned and walked to the car. He expected Randy to follow him with a scream, but nothing happened. He and Liam drove away. Randy's father called Tom on Sunday afternoon, when Tom was usually getting Liam ready to come home. One of the unwritten terms of the divorce was that Hank would not, under any circumstances, socialize with or go near Tom. Randy's father informed Tom that Randy had suffered a severe stroke on Friday night as she was getting ready to go out. Hank only discovered her when he returned from dinner, which Randy did not attend. By the time she received medical attention, she was in poor condition, paralyzed on one side, blind and unable to speak. Randy's father had asked Tom to keep Liam for a while until she could get the therapy she needed and get her life back to normal, whenever that might be. Now Hank would have to spend quite a bit of time taking care of Randy. Tom agreed to keep Liam for a while and on Monday asked his attorney to file the paperwork to make the temporary guardianship official. Hank didn't object to that. Randy couldn't. That night, before going to bed with a wide smile, Tom took one last look at the lottery ticket and marveled at the world of possibilities that opens up when you have a Photoshop and a reputation for honesty.